certain way and you do it your way and then mess up, I don't want to clean it up. Because that was your cup, not mine.
Listen, I was feeling that Jake Paul was going to knock out Tank. This press conference made me feel a little bit more confident about Tank. I'm no cap.
He done a lot in his career, right? Not everything, but he done a lot. What people don't understand is his business is a lot.
Floyd Mayweather recently broke down the highly anticipated fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis, offering a measured but revealing perspective. According to Floyd, Tank is making his own decisions and taking full responsibility for his career. He explained that he has given Davis plenty of advice over the years, but if that guidance isn't taken, then it's no longer his concern.
Within my company, within my team, do it my way. Because if you mess up, I don't mind being a janitor to clean up the mess because I've told you to do it a certain way. But if I tell you to do it a certain way and you do it your way and then mess up, I don't want to clean it up. Because that was your cup, not mine.
The boxing world has been buzzing ever since the official announcement of Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis. Fans, analysts, and former fighters have been fiercely divided over whether this fight should even happen. Some dismiss it as a marketing stunt designed to draw attention rather than respect, while others see it as an opportunity for Tank to expand his audience and test himself on a massive global stage. In the midst of the heated debates, several insiders have spoken out, some defending Davis's choice and others condemning it as another sign of boxing's shift toward spectacle. What's clear is that this matchup has reignited the age-old conversation about what truly defines legitimacy in the sport.
And number 3, the retirement.
I mean, the backlash is just what people do nowadays. That's just, you give somebody a keyboard, you give them a phone, and they able to hide their face, yeah, they're gonna have a field day. The backlash I get, I understand. What'd you say, number 2, not fight Shakur?
Yeah, he's saying he'll never fight Shakur, that he ain't gonna do him no favors, that he ain't gonna help him make no money because Shakur broke or something like that. Something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't get all that. That's, you know what I mean, that's against the game. Like, you know what I mean? You at least owe that fight for the game. You know what I mean? You owe the rematch to Lamont for the game. But you owe Shakur for the game just because of the 2 style matchups, you know what I mean? But if he feel like he don't gotta fight him, guess what? We can't sit here and just go crazy about it, but it is kind of crazy.
Trainer Greg Hackett voiced strong frustration over the backlash Gervonta Davis has been facing online. He argued that today's fans are quick to judge fighters without understanding the personal circumstances behind their choices. Hackett emphasized that if Tank chooses to fight Jake Paul, that's his right and it deserves respect. He reminded people that only the fighter knows what motivates them or what battles they're fighting outside the ring. Hackett believes boxing culture has become too critical, driven by social media commentary instead of genuine appreciation for the hard work and discipline required to stay at an elite level. His words reflect the growing sentiment among trainers and fighters who feel that fans have turned boxing discourse into a non-stop online circus.
He done a lot in his career, right? Not everything, but he done a lot. What people don't understand is his business is a lot. This whole experience is a lot. The shit these fighters go through is hard to explain. It's hard to explain because people, they can't see it, so they can't understand it. But it's stressful to the fighters because they coming from just getting ready to fight in the amateurs, being prepared, going out there, win, get it done, celebrate, all right, we back to the next camp. To now, marketing. You're talking about marketing. You're talking about lawyers. You're talking about all this shit that you just never imagined. You're like, why do I have to deal with all of this shit? People trying to keep money coming in, so they trying to come up with bright ideas. At the same time, you got a lot of people trying to get.
Much of the controversy also revolves around analyst Max Kellerman, whose recent remarks have caused serious backlash. Many accuse him of bias, especially against fighters like Gervonta Davis. During several recent broadcasts, Kellerman claimed that Tank had never truly been a champion in his division and suggested his career lacked defining victories. Those comments angered many within the boxing community, who pointed out that Davis's record and knockout power speak for themselves. Critics say Kellerman's attitude reflects a broader issue in boxing media where younger fighters and unconventional stars are often dismissed in favor of nostalgic, pure narratives. The debate exposes how perception, favoritism, and personal bias continue to shape the way fighters are judged in the public eye.
Max Kellerman is full of nonsense. Max Kellerman claims that Gervonta Davis was never a champion, that we've never been a period of time when we looked at Gervonta Davis and said Gervonta Davis is the man in that weight class. Bunch of other ridiculousness pouring out of the pie hole of Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman is one of the most biased, bought and paid for journalists that there is in the sport of boxing, and to have him back talking again on and giving his opinion again about the sport of boxing, I promise you is not a good thing. But let's analyze what he had to say about Gervonta, that Gervonta was not ever a champion. That is ridiculous because Gervonta Davis was a champion for the IBF at 130. He was a WBA super champion at 130. He is currently the reigning WBA champion at 135, and there is no other champion in the division for the WBA at the moment. He is the only WBA champion that there is at 135. He had a portion of a secondary. The title at the time he won it at 140 was a secondary title. So if you do not want to count that, I don't know why you wouldn't, seeing as everybody else counts that belt. But okay, fine. He's a 2-division world champion. That is more than zero Max Kellerman. Now, looking at the idea that Gervonta Davis has never been the man in that division is absolutely ridiculous because Gervonta Davis has really been the man in that division the entire time that he's there.
Former world champion Paulie Malignaggi has never been one to hold back, and his stance on Davis versus Paul is no different. He sharply criticized the matchup, arguing that it undermines the authenticity of boxing. To him, knockouts only matter when they happen between evenly matched, credible opponents. Manufactured bouts, he said, mislead casual fans into thinking they're watching true competition. In his discussion with analyst Chris Algieri, Malignaggi made it clear that while casual viewers might find the event entertaining, real boxing fans can see through the hype. He warned that letting social media-driven fighters share the spotlight with world-class athletes blurs the line between sport and show business. His comments cut deep, exposing a growing tension between tradition and entertainment that continues to define modern boxing.
Dude, knockouts. People like knockouts. They don't care if you're knocking out cab drivers. Look at Jake Paul's career.
You can manufacture that though. You can manufacture that though. You can manufacture. You can't manufacture. To a degree, you can. To a degree. I mean, you can't. Yeah, Gervonta legitimately cannot get knockouts. I agree. He can punch, but there's a lot of limited knockout artists though, man.
He's one of the least active punchers in the game with the highest knockout percentage of current heavyweight.
But if he was a real knockout artist, if he was a real knockout artist, prop him up against the best of the best. Felix Trinidad was a knockout artist. He was knocking out the best of the best. If you're a real knockout artist, prop him up against the best and show us how he smokes them. But the way we did when Felix Trinidad was doing it. You know, the way they did when Mike Tyson was doing it in his prime. Okay, say what you want about the Mike Tyson era. He knocked out everyone from 1986 to 1989. Everyone got knocked out. Everyone.
Well, by your standard, you could say that Tyson was, to a degree, manufactured.
No, because he fought everyone that was there. Everyone that was there at that time fought.
Teddy Atlas will 100% agree with this.
With the expense of
Witherspoon. That we're afraid of.
With the exception of Witherspoon. No, but they all, doesn't matter. He knocked them all out. There was nobody you could say in that era except maybe Witherspoon, who had contract issues with King at the time. Except for Witherspoon, there is nobody Tyson didn't fight in that era. He knocked them all out. You can't say like, oh, but if he would have fought that guy, I don't know. No, with Davis, there's guys right now that have been hanging around for years. Yo, dude, when are you going to fight them? The lightweight division was stacked with talent. Even at 130, it had a lot of talent when he was there. Didn't fight almost any of them. So it's not the same thing as the Tyson era. You want to say anything about Tyson era? Fine. It wasn't as high level or something. He still knocked out everyone.
On the other side of the argument, commentator Showbiz the Adult took a far more optimistic view. After observing the press conference between Davis and Jake Paul, Showbiz said he actually grew more confident in Tank's chances. Initially, he worried that Jake's size and strength might overwhelm the smaller fighter, but seeing Davis's composure changed his mind. Showbiz praised Gervonta's focus, professionalism, and calmness under pressure, saying he looked like a man who fully understands the magnitude of the event. He also noted that Davis's intelligence and precision could easily offset Jake's physical advantages. According to Showbiz, this fight might shock those who assume Jake's power alone will decide the outcome. In his eyes, Tank's superior technique, patience, and timing could make all the difference.
I'll be damn, I just can't. Listen, I was feeling that Jake Paul was going to knock out Tank. This press conference made me feel a little bit more confident about Tank. No cap. I know Tank wasn't saying much, fumbling over his words, seems bashful, but I'm looking, right? And I'm just like, bro, he doesn't feel that Jake Paul is an issue. Even though he said it, he doesn't feel like he has to whoop his ass. He doesn't feel threatened. That's the word. He doesn't feel threatened, but he does feel out of his element. I'm gonna be honest, man. It sounds like, I know everybody's looking at this press conference and it's like, number one, I know what y'all saying. It's a clown show. It's not real. Tank was paid off. It's fake. Cause Tank, when he was talking about Jake and JV, even I was like, what is he talking about?
He laughing.
What are you talking about? What does he have to do with this?
Let anything, you know what I'm talking about. Let anything. No, I don't have to say it right now. Don't worry about it. I don't got to say it up here. Let anything happen. And I'm going to show you and him.
So that I could understand if that's your concern. I am being extremely truthful with how I feel about this and how I'm reacting to this. My oldest son was like, I see the same thing, Dad, but you're going to get a weird response to your take.
Interestingly, Floyd Mayweather's name has re-emerged in the headlines, not as a mentor or promoter, but as a competitor. Reports suggest that Floyd is now exploring the possibility of a bout with none other than Mike Tyson. Many analysts believe this isn't just a publicity stunt, it's Mayweather's way of reclaiming the spotlight. With all eyes on the Davis vs. Paul spectacle, some speculate that Floyd refuses to let even his protege overshadow him. It's classic Mayweather, forever the strategist, always aware of his place in the sport's hierarchy. While Davis and Jake prepare to make history in their own way, Floyd's rumored move reminds everyone that boxing's legends are constantly fighting another battle, the one for relevance and legacy in an evolving world of entertainment.
Celebrities and so many people that are known, where you can get somebody and they can sell tickets to events. That's what kicked off the social media influence boxing that Jake Paul was birthed from. Now we're in a vacuum. And so there's going to be a lot of conversation about that and continuing to do that. In this particular video, though, I want to get into the mind of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and why Floyd Mayweather Jr. would do this. There is the money, but there's also the competitive nature of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and him not wanting to have other people think that they're a bigger star than he is. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has not been able to really launch his star outside of the sport of boxing, so he continues to do exhibitions. Now, what I think is that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is announced it at this point in time with Mike Tyson, and in order to take advantage of the publicity heading into the Gervonta Davis, Jake Paul fight, which is, I do believe, set for November. So now that they have all the publicity and all that stuff coming out from that, he's going to piggyback on it and then try to have it in the beginning of next year sometime and actually make it a bigger event than Gervonta versus Jake Paul. And it probably will be. And the reason that I say that is because of Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is bigger than Floyd. Let me say Mike Tyson. I think Mike Tyson's bigger than Floyd Mayweather. I still think his name is bigger than Floyd Mayweather, even though I know Floyd has made more money in the pay-per-views. And I think that had a lot to do with, again, social media area and otherwise. But the combination of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Mike Tyson and the question about what is going to happen in that fight.
Former heavyweight contender Eddie Chambers added his perspective, warning fans not to underestimate Gervonta Davis. He argued that size doesn't always determine victory. Boxing history has countless examples of smaller, more skilled fighters dismantling bigger opponents. According to Chambers, Jake's physical advantages mean little when compared to Davis's technique, speed, and intelligence inside the ring. He acknowledged Jake's improvement but emphasized that experience matters. In his view, Davis's timing, adaptability, and mental toughness will be key. Chambers concluded that dismissing Tank would be a serious mistake, not because of his power alone, but because of his strategic brilliance. Reports from Davis's training camp support this sentiment. Insiders describe him as intensely focused, disciplined, and determined to prove that he can merge commercial appeal with genuine competition. For Davis, this fight is not about money, it's about pride and opportunity. A victory over Jake Paul could expand his name beyond traditional boxing audiences and cement his global stardom.
Press conference, and you can tell, you can just look at him and tell, like, no, this dude he's gonna get this money for sure, because there's so much money out there to be had. But Jake Paul better be not playing around, man. Not get cute, not play any games, don't hit him in the back of the head, don't rabbit punch him, don't do any of that stuff, man, because Mike Tyson, first of all, Mike Tyson, a lot of people think Mike Tyson was pulling punches on Jake Paul, and a lot of people think that Anderson Silva was pulling punches on him too. You're not going to have a little Gervonta out there pulling punches on you, man, if you're out there playing games. So, I don't like the fight at all. However, as far as it being an entertaining situation, I almost guarantee you that fight itself is going to be entertaining. That it's going to be something that you look at and you're going to say, man, everybody's going to watch it. Everybody's going to want to know what happens in it. But at the same time, it's kind of like what people think, when you see a car crash. Like, you're driving down the road and all of a sudden the traffic gets heavy and you're like, man, I'm going to be in traffic for a long time. And then you drive forward a little bit and then you see, oh man, this is some accident on the other side of the road and everybody just slowing down to watch. That's the type of entertainment that you can expect from this fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. There's going to be a lot of people watching it, but I gotta say, man, you really can't blame the guy on what he's doing. And there's a lot of criticism flying on Gervonta Davis. It's not Gervonta Davis's fault that boxing took this turn. This turn of these exhibition fights and people not caring about the belt and all of that stuff came with Floyd Mayweather Jr., man.
Former world champion Timothy Bradley has also shared his take, and he's firmly on Team Tank. Bradley described the fight as easy money for Davis, arguing that Tank's experience and skill level make Jake's challenge appear minor in comparison. He pointed out that Davis has faced and beaten elite fighters, while Jake's resume features only a few professionals. Still, Bradley gave Jake credit for his dedication but insisted that the skill gap is too wide to bridge. He believes that Davis's speed, defense, and counterpunching will expose Paul's weaknesses within a few rounds. The only real danger, Bradley said, is if Tank underestimates his opponent. As long as he stays sharp and disciplined, Bradley predicts a one-sided victory. Beyond the predictions, he noted, this fight represents a deeper turning point for boxing, a collision between old-school athletic mastery and the modern world of celebrity-driven competition.
Contract here, you prove your innocence and say that it ain't fixed. Because check this out, Tank ain't gonna lose this fight. Hell no. Tank ain't losing this fight. Too many holes. Man, Jake don't have enough experience. Yeah, man, this gonna be taking candy from a baby. Jake is missing the rules. See, this is what happens when you don't grow up in the game. When you don't grow up in the game, man, at a young age, this is what happens. You start reading your own press clippings. That's what Jake is doing. Fighting this lower level competition, and now he think he the ish. Now he think he the man. He ain't the man. You kidding me? He is not the man. Oh no, yeah. False sense of security. Now he trying to pick on small folks, right? And I don't mean that in a bad way. Yeah, I'm just saying size-wise. Yeah, that's another thing, boxing one-on-one. You can't pay attention to size.
For boxing purists, this crossover era feels uncomfortable. For marketers, it's revolutionary. Regardless of opinion, one fact remains, the Davis versus Paul fight has already achieved what boxing rarely manages anymore, global attention. The sport is evolving. Fighters like Gervonta Davis are adapting, learning how to balance legacy with spectacle. Whether fans love it or hate it, this event proves that boxing isn't dying, it's transforming before our eyes.
Right in that damn dog. It ain't the size of the damn dog, and I told y'all that, man. Yeah, it's the same thing here. And it's about the smartest dog. Tank too smart for him. Tank got too much boxing IQ for Jake, man. This gonna be easy. Easy. Like I said, man, Tank, please. Please, man. Don't do this to boxing, bro. If there's anything, man, shoot. Man, we could put together some kind of like account for you, a GoFundMe account or whatever, bro. And we can, hey, all your fans can give you $1, bro. So that way you don't be shoot blowing this fight. It's easy, bro. This sparring section. You know, look, I'm so confused. I don't know what the hell to call this. The circus? Just call it a circus. Yeah, just call it a damn circus. Because, you know, one minute they said, oh, this is the fight.
That's it for today's coverage. As the world waits for Davis and Paul to face off, one thing is certain, this isn't just a fight. It's a reflection of the sport's new identity where tradition meets innovation, and where every punch thrown represents not just power, but the future of boxing itself. Stay tuned.